European style basketball is widely considered to be team-oriented, fundamental, and the type of basketball that focuses on high-level IQ, team spacing, and tough defense. Now, compared to the American style of basketball, I think we can all agree that European basketball has a lot more skill and fundamentals colliding as opposed to highly athletic players who didn't necessarily master the fundamentals, but do still have some type of athleticism in them to have the skills that it takes to be an NBA player. European players have changed how the way of basketball is played, from the emergence of guys like Toni Kukoc to players today like Luka Doncic. Toni Kukoc was the first well-established Euro player in the league, and since him, they've really been established as great shooters, pesky defenders, elite playmakers, or just an overall great player that plays within his role on his team. The main aspect of Europeans' game is the unique shooting ability of their big men. Players such as Dirk, Jokic, Peja Stojakovic, Arvydas Sabonis, or, AK-47, otherwise known as Andre Karolinko, those type of guys have been some sharpshooters throughout this league's history. I'm pretty much gonna be exploring how European basketball not only differs from NBA basketball, but also how they're pretty much catching up to the NBA with regards to skill. Now, I'll be completely honest, today's NBA is littered with guys that are more athletes as opposed to skilled basketball players. It's starting to look like the European players are gonna have more of that fundamental play and that high IQ background, whereas American players are going to be uber athletic guys that can do some of anything. And once they get into the league, they start developing their jumper and start developing other things surrounding that'll make them a great NBA player. In 1995, then Commissioner David Stern predicted that in time, times will change and Team USA will no longer have a sweat-free journey to gold. That prediction seems to be coming to fruition before our very eyes, and honestly, Stern was right. Not only has the number of international players in the NBA steadily risen, but the gap between USA ball and the rest of the world has tightened as well. Not only has the number of international players in the NBA steadily risen, but the gap between USA ball and the rest of the world has tightened as well. Just a year ago in the Tokyo Olympics, nearly 70 players were either current or former players of the NBA. More than 4 dozen of them played in the league the season prior, and these European players are no longer just high-level role players or the occasional star. These guys are starting to be heliocentric gods in the NBA. We're starting to see European players be not only freaks of nature, but like I said, heliocentric with little to no weakness by the time they get to the league. Now, I know most of you watching this are wondering how or why, and truthfully it is a very simple explanation, because they have things in Europe that we don't got going on over here with regards to our rules and schooling with regards to basketball. Most of these players that are overseas, they're brought up to be basketball stars. They know what they're going to be from an early age, and they're brought up to be that. Let's look at Luka, for example. Luka has been playing professional basketball in his country since he was 16 years of age, and this is pretty standard overseas. We often talk about how or why players in the States reclassify and go to these prep schools year after year. Look at guys like Mikey Williams. Since his freshman year at San Ysidro, he's bounced from school to school to school, and now his senior year, he's right back at San Ysidro. We often wonder, why do these players do this? Why do these players bounce from school to school, state to state, and things of that nature? And like I said, the answer is simple. It's literally the only way to stay ahead of the curve, ensuring that you're playing competition at your level or greater. Let's look at Mikey Williams. Like I said before, San Ysidro, I'm very familiar with that. I'm from San Diego. San Ysidro is the last city before you get into Mexico, and I'm gonna tell you now, that region basketball wise is not very good in San Diego. The best teams in that region, they're not really very good teams, and Mikey would have been shooing it in every night, dropping 40 every night, playing against guys that are just run-of-the-mill high school athletes as opposed to guys at his level. He was essentially forced to go from prep school to prep school and go all the way across the country to North Carolina to play for a school out there, because the players he's seeing at San Ysidro High School, a public school in San Diego County, he's not going to be playing people at his level. If you guys go watch his first game for San Ysidro this year, his senior year, you'll see he's literally just going through the motions. It's like a simple workout, and truth be told, after that game, he probably could have gone to another gym and got some more burn with some better players. I'm not even gonna lie. Think about it. Guys like Luka, they're playing grown men as essentially a junior in high school, according to American standards. He isn't hindered by 8 to 9 hours of being at school. Then right after that, he has homework and he has to study for tests and all these other things that they're essentially gonna get in the way of your essential goal at the end of the day. Now, Luka just so happens to be the latest star to come out of European land, so I'm using him. But what about a guy like Victor Wembanyama? The league is going to have to deal with a kid who is 7'3", has a smooth jumper, a silky handle, and the length to defend, finish, or sky over anybody with ease. When LeBron, KD, and Steph are gone, will European players be the face of the league? Now, I doubt it, but at the end of the day, we got to be real with ourselves. Are they going to be the better players in the league? And that might actually be a real possibility. We're seeing it with guys like Giannis, Jokic, and Luka, and this is only gonna be a trend that continues to happen. Now, like I said, I don't believe a European player will ever be the face of the NBA, because the NBA at the end of the day is an American association and it is a business. So it is in their best interest to have an American player be the face of the league regardless. But I will say it is extremely refreshing to see guys like Luka dominating the league, because we know he's a basketball player through and through. He's not a guy that has otherworldly athleticism that has to work on his game once he got to the league. His game was polished once he got there, and we're seeing it now. Most players in today's NBA, they're uber athletic and can do things the average human can't. Other than the stars and high-level role players like a PJ Tucker or Bobby Portis, who pretty much is gonna have a job wherever they go. Most players in the league, they're just tall, athletic guys. They're not smart, high IQ basketball players. What I mean by that is there's a lot more of Jackson Hayes type guys in the league than there are Luka Doncic, LeBron, you know, Steph kind of guys in the league. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think Euroball will ever surpass American basketball, but I do believe the mix of American players to Euro players in the NBA will start to become more balanced, if it really hardly hasn't already. But I think in the next couple years, it will balance itself out more to where we're seeing a lot more of European players playing here, and we're going to continue to see the emergence of foreign superstars in our league. I personally like the rise of diversity and more Euro players, because that means the game we all love, that we talk about, that we, you know, have emotion about, we bang on tables, we punch walls, we cry, whatever, the same love for the game that has us doing all those things, it's expanding even further than us, and it's becoming one of those things where people amongst the world, all over the world, across the globe, love the same game that we love, and it's beautiful to see. That's all I got for you guys in this video. If you're not new, go ahead and hit the like button, comment on this video what you think the trend will be for European players going forward in the NBA. And until next time, it is your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube, and I'm out.